Lucy, you got some explaining to do. God, Lucy. God, man, just fuck this movie sideways. You know, the other day I go out to hang out with some friends, and one of them's like, hey, let's go see Lucy. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they don't really explain it, but they're like, let's just go see it. So we all get our tickets, we go inside, you get popcorn. God, that popcorn's amazing. And then you go sit down in the theater, and we're just watching the previews. I'm like, wow, there's so much shit out. I hope this is a good movie. And then as soon as the movie starts, I go, wait a minute. This is the movie that I've seen previews for all over the place. Can't believe I didn't remember the name. And I remember every time I saw that movie trailer, I got a little bit pissed off. Mostly because the premise is so fucking stupid. But I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to watch it, I'm trying to enjoy it. Within the first 10 minutes, you get introduced to Mick Douchebag here. And I want to smack the shit out of him, right? I want to smack the shit out of him in his stupid cowboy hat and his stupid gold rimmed glasses. I want to smack the fucking shit out of him. Have him poop all over the floor. But of course, that's not even on my top 10 list of the flaws for this movie. There's plenty more to go over. So I'm just gonna go over the first few minutes. You meet Lucy, you meet Richard. Richard's like, hey, I need you to deliver this suitcase. And she's like, I don't want to deliver your stupid suitcase. And then he handcuffs her to the suitcase, and he's like, hey, deliver my suitcase. And of course she protests, but she goes inside and she delivers a suitcase, right? And she goes to the counter, and we're all like, okay, cool. Nothing so bad so far. And then Richard gets shot, BAM! And I'm like, douchebag karma. His heart explodes in a billion pieces. And then we start to get into the weirdness. Alright, so these Asian guys, they pick her up and they take her to a hotel room where she sees a couple of guys dead on the floor, and then this Asian guy who doesn't speak any English, he comes out and he's telling her to open the case. He gives her the number to open the case, and then he leaves. And then he's like, we're standing right outside. He's like, oh no, it might be a bomb. It's not a bomb. She opens a bunch of little packets of little blue meth balls in it, I guess. And then he pokes a little hole in the bag, and he has his druggie come out and sniff the shit. Why he has him sniff the shit, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know why he needs to do it. The guy starts laughing, and then he keels over. Because that scene, we couldn't have gotten by without that scene. That scene was really relevant. And especially since he did it right in front of her. She really needed to see that. That was just amazing, right? And then he offers the Lucy lady a job, and she's like, no, I don't want to take your stupid job. And then they knock her out, and they stuff a tummy full of drugs, along with 3 other people. First problem, instantly, that catches my attention right here, is that the bag they put in her is the bag that he punched open. There's a hole in the goddamn bag, and it's just leaking all inside of her. So that's problem number 1. We're gonna put a leaking bag of drugs inside this girl. We're not even seal it because, we really, I guess they don't give a shit about their product. They're just like, oh, if some of it leaks over, and if she has a seizure or whatever, keels over, and the security comes out and is like, oh my god, she has this massive incision in her stomach. That's perfectly fine. We drug dealers, we're not too worried about drugs. We're not too worried about money. We were just in it for the kicks. But that's just one of the major flaws of this film. Now the next problem, and this is the next big problem, is that apparently drugs just give you superpowers. Now this drug is supposed to help you access 100% capacity of your brain. Don't worry, I'll get to that in a minute. And so now, like, we cut later, she's in this little Taiwanese dungeon place, and she's like, oh my god, and she's floating, and she's rubbing against the walls, she's bumping against the walls and stuff, and of course nobody hears her going, and then I guess then she has access to 20% of her brain, which is fucking stupid, and that makes her float. That just magic, I guess. And that's not all. There's all kinds of weird shit in this movie. Like, apparently, if you get access 100% of your brain, you can make people fly and hit the ceiling. You can change matter. You can also figure out skills that you've never had any inclination towards because, you know, magic. Problem number 3, and this is another big one, and is related to the last one, is that simply having more brain capacity does not mean that you can suddenly just learn a new language just by looking at it. That does not mean that you can suddenly learn how to drive by, you know, just getting in a car and driving. That doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, a car, maybe you can argue that's not too difficult to figure out, except if you need to change gears, if you need to figure out which pedal is the brake, if you need to figure out all this shit, you know, you can just, I guess you can just sit down and figure that out. Not to mention, it apparently means that she can now hack all kinds of electronics, because humans and electronics, well, we're just connected on a real level. We're like bros, you know, we like do fist bumps and shit. But there's only problem number 3. Problem number 3 is that she has this French guy along, and she kisses him, and she's like, "You'll find out in time what I have in store for you." Blah 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 blah. And then so she takes him with her. She kisses him once, and then through the rest of the film, nothing at all. There's no romance. There's no nothing. There's no kissing. There's no hugging. There's nothing. And the question instantly becomes, then why the fuck is this French guy coming with you? What use do you have for him? Oh wait, you don't have any use for him? So he's just there? Basically, you just wanted to give some French guy blue balls? That's amazing. Those French blue balls, I bet they taste just like cream fraiche. You know, man, this thing's making me fucking drink. I wish I could drink, but I don't drink. Lucy, you're driving me to drugs. But then, another problem we have here, another big problem we have here, is where the fuck is she getting all the energy to do this? In one scene, when she first kind of gets her powers and she escapes the little Taiwanese dungeon place, she eats a bunch of shit, so you could assume, okay, well, with all this brain power, I guess she needs extra food, because, you know, metabolism, all that bullshit. But, and then they give off some kind of half-assed explanation a bit later on that says she can control her metabolism, but I'm just like, so she doesn't need anything at all. Nothing. Using all this energy, she needs absolutely nothing. She already tells people that she's gonna die in 24 hours without more of this drug. But, apparently, no, you don't need extra energy. She just magics that shit too. I don't know. I think that's fucking stupid. But of course, my number one biggest complaint, the thing that made me pissed off at the trailers, the thing that made me pissed off at everything about this movie even more, is just the basic premise. So, our final big problem that I'm going to go over is the premise. Guys, we don't just use 10% of our brain. We don't just use 10% of our brain capacity, okay? It's a common bullshit myth. So, the entire fucking movie is based on a common bullshit myth. Which makes me stop and go, Morgan Freeman. Why are you in this, Morgan Freeman? I love you, Morgan Freeman. Don't do this to yourself, Morgan Freeman. But he does it to himself. The entire movie is basically a stupid shit fest. There's a couple of decent action scenes, but fuck, what movie nowadays doesn't have a couple of decent action scenes? And even most of those action scenes, the character, Scarlett Johansson, I think's her name. I mean, the person playing the character acts like a weird autistic motherfucker, and apparently that just is how we're expected to understand people with extra brain capacity. Just in general. No personal skills. The characters are all forgettable. The only reason I remember Lucy is because of how much she pissed me off. She fucking time travels towards the end because you can just time travel, I guess, when you're fucked up. Man. This is some dumb bullshit. And if you include the visuals, I might be able to give it like a 4 out of 5, no, out of 10 stars. Oh, fucking retarded. But even that's kind of a stupid way to criticize something based on stars, so I'll just end it by giving this movie a big old fuck you, you stupid piece of shit.